Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Commissioner and General and Mr. Secretary, welcome. The President has submitted a budget for our Corps of Engineers. It's $7.2 billion. That's a lot of money in anyone's book. That's the good news, I guess. The bad news is that I was looking last night, it's 17% less than the Corps' current budget. That makes no sense to me. The Corps actually saves us money. Your flood control projects mitigate damage that we would otherwise have to pay for, including but not limited to through FEMA. The navigational dredging that you do facilitates commerce, which grows our economy. Workers pay taxes like everybody else. If their wages are higher and there are more workers, they pay more in taxes. So do the businesses. I don't want to belabor this point. I've got a lot of things to talk about today, but that's going to be my starting point. This just makes no sense to me. We need a budget for the Corps of Engineers that looks like somebody designed it on purpose. And this budget doesn't do that. And with that, I look forward to hearing your responses. Thank you, Madam Chair. General, as you know, the pumps in our new storm protection system in New Orleans are corroding. And I know the Corps is working on it. Thank you for that. Who did we buy the pumps from?
Sir, it was a joint venture, a contractor.
Who was it?
Sir, I'll get you the specific names of the joint venture.
Well, are they going to stand behind their product?
Sir, we reached a settlement agreement with the joint venture, and we will begin that work after hurricane season. The interim fixes on the remaining 4 pumps in the system will be complete by the 1st of June, so we'll have every pump available for this hurricane season. Okay. Then we'll go to work on the long-term repairs.
And you said you reached a settlement with your joint venture partner. I assume that's the pump manufacturer?
Yes, sir.
How much money are they putting up?
Sir, I can get you all. I don't have those details here.
Would you? I mean, they need to stand behind their project. This project's brand new, and the pumps are corroding. And I really would like to see more about the settlement that you worked out with them.
Okay. Yes, sir. We're going to deliver on a 35-year design life. That's our commitment to you.
Yes, sir. I want to ask you about another project, General. I know you're familiar with it. That's the grain elevator project in Wallace, Louisiana, by Greenfield, Louisiana. It's a $225 million project. It's not a petrochemical plant. It's a grain elevator project. We'll export grain. It's going to create about 100 new jobs, good jobs, about $75,000 apiece. The community wants it. The Planning and Zoning Commission in the community just approved the rezoning. But we've reached a point in this country where it takes longer to go to medical school, or it takes longer to get a permit for a project than it does to go to medical school. And when are we going to make a decision? The project needs a permit from the Corps. I'm not telling you what decision to make. This company's already spent $25 million, and they're going on, what, a couple of years? It's fish or cut bait time. Can you tell me when we're going to have a decision from the Corps?
Yes, sir. So soon. This is a controversial permit. There's parties for and against this particular project. So the current friction that we're working through, sir, is adherence to the National Historic Preservation Act, specifically Section 106, on 6 historic properties that are in the region. So we've got the information that we needed from all of our consulting parties. Colonel Jones is going through that now. He will make the decision, likely here very soon, on whether or not that needs to be elevated to the keeper of the registry of the National Register for decision. We expect to have that decision very soon.
Can I ask you a question, General? This is the Corps' call, is it not? I mean, I know if the historic preservation folks, they're entitled to input, but they don't have veto power, do they?
Sir, I don't know. Whether or not it gets elevated, I believe, is Colonel Jones's call.
Yeah, it's the Corps' call. And I know there's some people who don't want it. I understand that, and they're entitled to their opinion. But at some point, the Corps' got to make a decision. And you're not going to make everybody happy here. But time is money. And that's all I'm asking is that you go ahead and make a decision. Give me a quick update. Do I have any time left? Thank you, Senator Hoven. I love Hoven. Can you give me a quick update on the Morganza to the Gulf of Mexico project?
Yes, sir. Yesterday, we completed the initial NEPA work, designed the finding of no significant impact, and we completed the plans and specs for what we call Reach A. So that's the 5-mile gap on the southwest side of this 98-mile system. We'll get that contract out for solicitation next and intend to award a construction contract in July.
Okay. No, I got 35 seconds, Senator Hoven tells me. Quick update on the St. Tammany Parish, Louisiana feasibility study.
Yes, sir. I will take that chief's report briefing from the New Orleans district on the 28th of May. We'll sign that, and we'll get that to Congress for their consideration in Word of 24.
Okay. Thank you all very much. General, in my opening comments, I talked about how, in my judgment, the Corps of Engineers and its projects actually save us money. Do you think I'm right about that?
Sir, you're absolutely correct.
Okay. I'm a big fan, by the way, of the Corps, like Senator Shaheen, like all of us. I just worry about how we fund you. The president's budget, I know it's not your budget. You've got to claim it, but I get it. You wouldn't do it the same way. It was thrust upon you. But let's take the Inland Waterways Trust Fund. How do we fund that?
Yes, sir. So this is a tax on transporters on our inland waterway system, and those funds are collected into the specific fund.
But we don't spend all the money. We collect the tax from people, but we don't, and we say it's for inland waterways, but we don't spend all the money on inland waterways, do we?
We don't.
We
That's
spend
correct.
it elsewhere in the budget, right?
Can I jump in on that?
Sure.
With respect to, I looked a lot at this issue as we were finalizing the work plan, Senator. We have a $300 million, account right now within the Waterways Trust Fund, and we generally get about $100 to $120 million worth of revenue. We had the opportunity to make a choice based on the work plan of whether or not we went into the trust fund this year. I chose not to do that. We had the opportunity to repurpose bipartisan infrastructure laws. So, and the reason I wanted to
Yes, sir, but before we get too far down in the weeds, we do this with the Harbor Maintenance Trust Fund as well. We tax people who are using these waterways, and then we don't spend the money on the waterways. Isn't that an accurate description?
We have not used all the funds provided. That is correct, sir.
Okay. General, tell me when we can expect a Corps decision on the Greenfield project we talked about earlier.
Yes, sir. As I spoke to Colonel Jones just this morning on that, I expect we'll have that decision within the next few days.
Okay, and that will be a final decision?
It would be a decision on whether or not we need to elevate to the keeper of the National Register the issue associated with the six historic properties. The final decision, sir, will come later in the
Let's
in the
suppose
year.
you elevate it to the historic preservation community, if you will, I'll call them. You still have the final decision, right?
That's correct.
The historic preservation folks give you their advice, but their advice is not dispositive. Is that right?
Sir, I'm sorry. I may have misunderstood your earlier question. I don't know the answer to that. I only have one repetition where we had to elevate to the keeper. I will take that, sir, and follow up with you.
Yeah, but here's what I'm trying to understand. Whose decision is it? Is it you? Is it the Corps, or is it the historic preservation people?
Yeah, that's the part I don't. The final decision on the permit, the overall permit, is with the Corps. The specific issue with the National Historic Preservation Act, I'd have to follow up. I don't know.
Well, it's your decision. I mean, that's my understanding of the law. Historic preservation folks offer their input to the Corps, but the Corps either issues the permit or it doesn't. And you have the authority to say, I agree with the historic preservation people, or I don't. And what I'm asking is, when do you think we'll get a final decision? I mean, what if the historic preservation folks say this is going to take us 3 or 4 years? Now we've not only finished medical school, we finished an internship and a residency and a subspecialty. So how long are you going to give the historic preservation folks to make a decision? It's not like they haven't been part of this. They've been part of this from day one.
Right.
And they don't want this project, do they?
Okay. So, Senator, I only have one repetition where we had to elevate to the
No,
keeper of the
I'm
National
trying to
Register.
understand the time.
It didn't take 6 years. It took a few weeks.
Okay, so you think that the historic preservation folks, you're going to elevate it to them, and then they're going to have to give you an answer in a few weeks?
So the decision to elevate has not been made yet. That's the
Yeah, but you're going to elevate. That's my prediction. You know, let me put my, I just see an elevation in my
sir.
future, After you elevate, how long are they going to take?
Sir, I don't know how long,
How long
they're
are
going
you
to take.
going to give them?
Sir, I don't know those answers.
We have to make a decision. We've not only finished med school here, we finished law school and going after a PhD. These permits just shouldn't take that long, General. This controversy is not going away, and I'm not telling you how to make the call. But you got to make a call here, just like on Senator Hovind's pipeline. 6 years, that's not acceptable. Thanks, Madam Chair.